I am going to come to the defense of Elden Ring because I've seen too many people who are stupid and bad at games like Asmongold and Moist Critical say that the DLC is too hard. It's not too hard. You guys just fucking suck and are idiots. I always love getting a chance to diss Asmongold and Moist Critical because God, they are annoying. But this is my second time ever fighting this boss because I first tried her my first time. And I'm just going to walk in and casually first try her again on my my other character here. So I will explain everything in this clip afterwards. And I just want to emphasize, this is literally my second time ever fighting this boss, seeing it. So I am garbage at this fight. Like, this is bad. This is not a clean fight. I don't even have a single Revered Spirit Ash upgrade on Mimic Tier, because this is my second time going through it. So I was just like, oh, fuck it. I just want to get this over with. I'm just walking in. I'm not even going to bother collecting this stuff. And look, you know, I just want to point out, it was 20 seconds in for me to buff and get in the fight and, like, place Mimic Tier. So it only took me 36 seconds to kill her. That's it. So, if it's taking you more than, like, a minute to kill these bosses, like, any of them, with the exception of, like, Radon, then, like, your build fucking sucks, frankly. So let me explain what happened in that clip and why. So first off, this, no, this is from the other video. This is my stat screen. You can literally see, like, the game is saving because I had just killed her. So this is my stat screen here. I only have 7 of the blessing. That's as much as you can get to go into that fight. I completely forgot. I did not give enough of a fuck about Mimic Tier to even upgrade this. But look at the AR difference between these two pictures. My second run through, where it was far more optimal with a much better character, even despite having less than half the blessing, I end up with more AR. So let me just explain what's going on here, because you, right now, listening to me, should incorporate at least some of this stuff into your game plan. Every boss is weak to a certain element. The DLC introduced new greases that give you, like, double the damage of the base game greases. So use them. You absolutely cannot live without these blessings. Every one of these is 2% more defense and 4% more damage. So this is like 30-something% damage increase, which stacks with everything else. Sorry, my fucking chronic problems, illnesses. But there's really basic things you can do to not have problems with the difficulty. Because remember, like I said in my other video, I beat this DLC with my friend. Like, we were both playing it side by side. We were not like summoning. Yeah, this fucking queer. We weren't like summoning we weren't like summoning each other. Like, we were just watching, like, we were talking about it as we were going through it. Yep. And we both beat it in one play session the night it came out. Like, this was not like a crazy mountain of a fucking task here. But anyway, right here, this item exists, and this is just 30% damage. Like, you know, here you go. This is another item that exists, and this is just 20% damage for free. And these stack. So you're just using a grease, this, and this, these, like, unlimited use consumable items, you've effectively doubled your damage. Just, like, if you aren't using any of this and you use just these 3, you double your damage. But the crystal tiers, because this is another thing, people's flasks absolutely suck. Like, you have a crystal tier here, like right here. You can use this for damage negation, and it's like right here, 15% damage negation for everything. Everything. That is like that's like putting on 3 talismans worth of defense. And then the spiked crystal tier, or no, I'm sorry, the thorny. This one right here, if you just do more than one attack, you get 9% damage, then 13, then 20. So just using your flask, this is giving you 3 minutes of basically 20% more damage and 20% less damage taken.
Which also stacks with a lot of the items later.
You use this stuff. Like, this is literally just using 4 items. This is not like crazy amount of buffing. This is literally just using 4 items, and you've effectively doubled your damage and giving yourself a lot of defense. But then you can push this even further. Like right here, or not this one. So like right here.
One.
Yeah, right here. This will be 11% extra damage for your attacks. This will be 13% damage for your attacks, which will stack with this 20%. So you use these on top of just these few items, you're starting to deal like, 100-something% extra damage. Then you can take this even further with your conditional buffs. Every build in the game has these conditional buffs. Bleed items have Varys Mask for 10% more damage, and the Lord of Blood Talisman for another 20%. This, when I didn't quite capture it quick enough, but I got up to 1700 attack power. Once I get this character to 20 blessings, this is gonna be like 3000 fucking attack power. And then you have Mimic Tier, who's going to copy your damage output. So I'm going to have 2 weapons dealing 3000 damage on me and Mimic Tier, and that's going to build up to Bleed, which is going to deal like 20% of the boss's total when it procs. There are so many things in this game to just super juice your stats. This is what I mean when I made that video saying that the DLC is pretty mid. I mentioned how there's too many items in this game for it to ever be balanced. That's why I think the DLC is bad. Because from my perspective, the DLC is too easy. Me and my friend, we beat Mesmer in like 3 to 5 tries. Dude, he had to kill Mesmer twice because Mesmer's like ghost snake attacks killed him after he killed Mesmer. So as Mesmer's dialogue was going on, his dialogue is longer than your death animation. So within 5 attempts, he killed Mesmer twice. So when you're sitting there for hours stuck on these easy mode bosses,
you are doing something wrong.
Yeah, either you haven't picked up nearly enough blessings, your build is fucking garbage, or you're a 3 out of 10 player on like the skill spectrum. And I'm sorry, but those are just the hard facts you need to hear. Either your build is god awful, like it physically doesn't work, like you're playing shield with straight sword and you're just trying to block everything, or you have like you're trying to fight Mesmer with like +5 Secured Tree Blessing when it should be like +13. Or you're just so bad at the game, you are doing all of that stuff and it's still taking you hours. In which case, I don't know what to tell you. If you have 200% damage on top of max blessing and your weapon has like 2500 AR to where you have the damage output to kill all of these bosses in like 20-30 seconds, and you're still having major problems, look, I'm actually not going to shit on you. If that's you, then genuinely, I hope you're enjoying it. Because, like, I mean, at that point, you're doing all you can. Like, if you're that kind of person where you're actually, like, engaging with the game's mechanics and you're still struggling, then I sympathize with you. I can empathize with that.
That's not most people, though. Most people are neglecting the fragments.
That's why I'm being far more hostile than I am in the other videos here, because I complained about Radon being too hard. Because unless you're gonna, like, practice parrying him, like, 30 times in a row, or just use something that automatically hard counters him to where he's literally not even a boss at all, unless you're gonna do something like that, that boss is way too fucking hard. Now, if the idea is to tailor your setup to counter him, then all right, that's fine. But Souls games have never been about doing that. I point this stuff out because these are universal buffs, usable in everything. And as you saw, it lets you kill almost every single boss in the DLC in under 30 seconds.
And also, like, these are not big ass. This is not a DLC at the very beginning of the game. You really should have all these things, like, if you don't have greases by this point, if you don't have, like, the consumables...
Like this is an infinite craftable item. You just get this in the base game, this 30% damage. This is another, like, nearly infinite craftable item.
And you get this everywhere. Yeah.
So it's like right here. This is a consumable that you grab off the ground or you buy it from one of, like, the merchant guy. So it's like this is something you have to find. It's a consumable. You're expected to use it. This is the crafting system you're expected to use. So
all of the crystal tiers are in the base game as well.
So I'm just saying, like, right here, you're expected to use the Sigic Flask. You're expected to use the crafting system. You're expected to use the consumables that you buy. The DLC is where you have to put all this stuff together. So
and even all the talismans, like the talismans you used, none of those were DLC talismans. You get Millicent's prosthesis at the end of her quest in the Halig Tree. You get the Rotten Winged insignia sometime around there as well. You could just kill Vare around I forget exactly where you get his mask. But yeah, and Lord of Blood Exaltation, I think you get that.
This is
Where
from
is
this is
it?
from
In
Lendell
Lendell.
Catacombs. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
So I
but
mean,
this is what I'm saying. Like all this
yeah.
is making sure your items synergize. Just okay, I'm using weapons that proc bleed, and I'm going to use Mimic Tear to further increase my bleed proc, so I can get 30% damage off of that. Okay, I'm using power stance weapons that attack rapidly, so I'm going to use the things that buff that. You know, a lot of this is just common sense. So this, because I've always been of the opinion that like Asmongold and Moist Critical are just fucking idiots, and like their primary audience is like literal children. And it's so obvious listening to them talk about this stuff because like I watched Asmongold play like when he was complaining that it was so hard, and I'm just like, dude, you're using a shield to block hits, and you're using like a basic sword with practically no buffs. I was watching the stream.
I saw him use the base tree sentinel spear.
Yeah, like, dude, I was like, hey, hit your stat screen, and I don't know if it was my comment or that got him to do it. Probably not, if I'm being honest. It was probably multiple people asking, but he showed his stat screen at one point. The dude was fighting like Mesmer with like under 1,000 AR. And I'm sitting here like, dude, you should be like in the 1,500 to 2,000 ballpark at like Renala or like whatever. Like by Mesmer, you should be in the 2,500. I'm like, dude, you're hitting for like almost 30% of the damage total you should be hitting for. And your defense is like 20-30% more damage taken than it needs to be. Like, yeah, you're having a problem because your build fucking sucks. Your build is actual garbage. Like, you literally have zero synergy. Your talismans don't synergize with your weapons. Your weapons don't synergize with your procs. Your consumables don't synergize because you're not even using them. And I'm like, man, there's a consumable system, a crafting system, talismans that synergize, a
And
Psijic
also,
that can synergize
summons.
armor. Yeah, and that's another thing. I love when people are like, man, look at all these scrubs cheesing bosses with Mimic Tear. Shut the fuck up. It's in the game. Fucking use it. Like be quiet. Look, if you want
Especially if you're specifically bitching about how hard the game is, but actively refusing to use anything that would give you an edge or an easier time, then it's your fault. You just enjoy the cock and ball.
I feel no sympathy for you. If you say it's too hard, but then you also try to act like an honorable piece of shit, and you're like, well, I'm too good to use Mimic Tear. Okay, dude, have fun with that. Yeah, that's why it's been 3-4 days and you're still progging the DLC, but Chads like me beat it within 10 hours. You know, that's why that happened, because people like me will go all out all of the time and just go like full power, use everything possible. And we just absolutely stomped it day one. And you're like, you've been in here for like 30 fucking hours and you're still halfway in. That's why that is, because the game is telling you, use these tools exist, use them. Can you name
this is not Dark Souls. Like,
can you name literally a single character who has the ability to like go harder or use more power on you, but just actively doesn't do so? No, you can't. And you know what's even funnier? When you start beating Malekith's ass, what does he do? He reverts back to the life he wants to leave behind to go destined death. You start beating Mesmer's ass, what does he do? He tears his eye out so he can revert back to the snake. Every time in every Souls game, when you start putting the pressure on most enemies, they're like, oh shit, okay, and they just bring their all. You know, it's so funny. If we had Mesmer's ability to just equip an item and just like go crazy and triple our damage and shit, you'd have motherfuckers calling you a scrub for using it. Meanwhile, it's what every goddamn character does to you. It's just so ridiculous to me. I hate this notion of like, well, I have too much honor to use these overpowered items. Dude, it's been like 3 years. Miyazaki hasn't nerfed it. He clearly doesn't mind if you use it. If you walk in with Mimic Tear and just stomp a boss in 20 seconds, Miyazaki believes that's the intended experience.
And honestly, dude, if you could go in naked to Radahn and beat him in like a minute and like fucking soul level 1, then good for you. But the most people who are like, Mimic Tear, man, I'm so much better than you. They haven't beaten the DLC yet, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
They're still complaining.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people's main complaint about the difficulty of this game is like these endless combos that you have to wait for, even if you're playing well. And it's like you would have an opening if on occasion they aimed the combo at something else. Like that's why it's there.
Yeah, it's like, do you think genuinely, like, to you people who talk shit on people who use Mimic Tier and stuff, I want to ask you something. Do you think maybe the reason why bosses have such long, drawn-out combos and delays and stuff is because the intended design, this entire Spirit Ash system that's so important,
It's been balanced
they
around it,
made note to have an upgrade item for it in the DLC? They explicitly made a progression path. There is an upgrade path with materials for it and a blessing upgrade path for it as well. Hey, they haven't made, like, apart from the Colosseum, like, look at Invasions, dude. They haven't given any love or anything to invaders for 10 fucking years now. But they made damn sure that every step of the way, there was a lot of stuff that kept the Spirit Ash system up to date. You know, like, motherfucker, you know, they made sure to give more love to Spirit Ashes in every single update than they have to invaders in the last, like, 5 game releases. Doesn't that tell you that, like, they very clearly are communicating, like, hey, you know, we are intentionally designing the game with Spirit Ashes in mind? So it's like, yeah, when a boss does, like, a 5-hit, like, rapid-fire combo at you, do you think maybe it's because they're intending you to have this tanky summon with you that takes some of the heat off of you, and you can then weave some hits in yourself there? You know,
Yeah, that's the main. I think that's one of the main misconceptions is people are still playing it like Elden Ring. They're expecting to dodge
mean Dark
literally
Souls,
every.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. They're still playing it like
they
Dark
haven't
Souls.
adapted. It's been 3 years, and they're still trying to play it like it's Dark Souls 3, and they haven't adapted at all. You know, yeah, cry all you want about people that use, like, strength hammer builds and then do, like, jump heavies and, like, 3-shot bosses and kill them in, like, 5 seconds, literally. Say, like,
They beat the boss. Yeah.
You can say everything you want about how bad that looks and how shitty it looks, blah, 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 blah. But, like, at the end of the day, that's the shit that works, man. I just find it so funny that you have all these, like, online warriors that talk about honor and, like, oh, I'll do it the right way. Like, shut up, you fucking gaming boomer. Like, dude, I think the person who emphasizes it best is Sun Tzu and Miyamoto Musashi, the most legendary and most victorious samurai of all time, and the greatest strategist and tactician of all time. You know what Sun Tzu starts the Art of War off with, and what Miyamoto starts the Book of 5 Rings off with? They both, within, like, the first couple pages, mention there is no honor nor glory in war. People who play by any semblance of rules are fools who will die. Like, literally, real-life warriors will tell you, use any advantage physically possible, it doesn't matter. Winning is what matters. Every character in the game does the exact same thing. You just have these out-of-touch, like, gaming boomer idiots who want to cling on to these, like, 10, 15-year-old, oh, well, it worked for me in Dark Souls, and I'm an OG, so I'm gonna do it right. You guys, you people who talk about Spirit Ashes and, like, using strong weapons like Uchiganas or Godskin Peelers being cheese, you sound exactly like 50-year-olds on the job site who are like, I don't want to work with these damn kids. They use all these drills. I just need my trusty screw hammer. What are you gonna do when that drill fucking runs out of a battery? I'm gonna swap it out for a new one. You know, it's
that
like,
thing's a damn gimmick, son.
Yeah, like FUDs. Oh, that new rifle's a damn gimmick, son. I trust my trusty M1 Garand. You know, like, that's what you are. That's what you sound like when you say this shit. And it's so annoying reading people, because I will see someone who is struggling, and they're genuinely trying, and they're struggling. Then someone says, well, why don't you use Mimic Tier? And then a bunch of, like, Dark Souls FUDs are like, don't use Mimic Tier, that's cheap. Motherfucker, is it not cheap when Radon does an attack on you that normally would have an ending, but Mikola waves his arms and makes it safe so you can't punish it anymore? Was that not cheap? Was that honorable combat? No! They're not playing fair, so you don't play fair. It is just so ridiculous to me. People who claim to be fans of this series, yet at the same time put these, like, artificial restrictions on what they're allowed to do, despite literally every game.
And that's the thing, like, like if you want to do a challenge like, oh, you want to play no spirit ashes or you
Yeah,
want
if you
to
want to
play
challenge,
no fragments, then that's on you, but you need to go into that knowing that you're intentionally handicapping yourself. If you're trying to beat it and you can't do it, then I think you're just it's a little foolish to not use everything at your disposal. Like you're not at the skill level where you can take up challenges or like handicap yourself if you have 500 tries on Mesmer, you know? Like you kind of need to
here,
use everything.
let me put it this way. If you really think you're good, then beat Radon beat Radon at level 100 with a plus 10 straight sword and only 3 Shadow Realm blessings, no parries and no spirit ashes and no ashes of wars. Just beat him with a regular broadsword, under leveled with little to no blessings, with using
Just
only R1s.
straight Dark Souls
Yeah,
gameplay, just
just
attack and
straight
dodge.
up old school
Yeah.
Dark Souls gameplay. None of the buffs from the DLC. None of the gimmick. Oh, that's an overpowered Ash of War. Do that. How about this? When you do that and upload a video of yourself doing it, then I'll take you seriously when you talk about this other stuff. But until
Yeah.
you do that, like, shut the fuck up.
Either shut the fuck up or just use the tools that are given to you. If you're mad and you are not using the tools given to you, but you're not good enough to beat it without it, but you don't want to because of honor, I think that it's
I think
silly.
you're an idiot.
Yeah.
The worst is these people are so toxic. You'll see a streamer struggling, and people will suggest like, "Oh, well, they're weak to this bleed build, so use this bleed." Then people will be like, "No, bleed's overpowered. Don't be a fucking scrub." And it's like, don't be a scrub, motherfucker. Like, what do you mean?
Also, I will say that if you beat Radon, and if you're struggling with Radon, like all this is exempt from that. If you're struggling with Radon, everyone gets it.
Because, like, dude, unless you're going to, like, use a specific setup designed specifically to beat Radon, he's one hell of a boss fight. But that's exactly my point. You can, at any point, just change into a Lion's Flip, like, stagger setup, and you'll literally beat him within, like, 10 minutes, tops. And it's just like, but then use any other setup that isn't, like, parry or, like, just bleed him out. You know, and that's what I mean. Like, there are so many things that counter bosses that it's like, the list. I love these people because I had someone in my comments when I mentioned how the DLC has the potential to be bad before it came out. He's like, well, if you're so good at the game, I'd like to see you play. This was unironically his list. He said, I want to see you stream the DLC when it comes out without using summons, spirit ashes, ashes of war, stacking item buffs, and like his list just went on. He's like, don't use these weapons because they're too strong. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, do you actually play the game like this? Like, do you actually enjoy spending 5 minutes on a boss fight? If you do, more power to you. But don't for a second think that other people should play the game like that. So it's like here's like the ideal elitist world. Don't engage with the crafting system. Don't engage with the buff stacking system. Don't engage with the merchants to buy any like weapon buffs. Don't engage with the Sijic because these are too strong. You know, it's like, dude.
No debuff builds.
It's
like at what point is it only valid if you do soul level 1 naked with the fucking club? Like at what point is it like, are you a real or you did it the right way?
Yeah, that's the worst thing. There is no right way. If you won, like that's it. I can understand not liking the Comet Azure of old, where people would literally just walk into a boss room, click one button, and then it would die, stuck in a stagger loop. I can understand thinking that is like, okay, you didn't actually beat the boss. Because it literally didn't even have a chance to move. You walked into the fog, clicked a button, it was stuck in an endless stagger loop, and you did enough damage to one-shot it. Like, I can understand saying that doesn't count. Because
like
that's basically pressing an I win button. But if you're doing anything other than one-shotting the boss to where it literally doesn't even have a chance to do a single attack, then it's fair game. It's fair game at that point.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with going for, like, a poise build and beating Radon. I don't think you're a shitter if you beat Radon like that.
I think you're
now,
smart.
we could have a separate
I think you're smart.
Now, I think we could have a separate
I think you ought to.
I think we could have a separate discussion on whether or not it's fun to just be able to only beat the boss on one specific build, right? I don't think that's good. But the fact of the matter is that that's how you do it, and if you could do it like that, then you won. You won. Like... You know, the boss is just as dead.
Dude, all I know is, like, It took me like 2 hours to finally be like, okay, Radahn's super difficult. I'm going to change my build. If I didn't do that, I would have been in the DLC in like under 10 hours. You know, like I could have said, damn, I beat the DLC day 1 under 10 hours. If I had just dropped the stubbornness and just went for the Lion's Flip build a little earlier, you know? And it's just like, look, again, all I know is by the time you, person who's talking about how like dishonorable this shit is, blah, 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 by the time you got past Renala, I was watching the end cutscene. That's all I'm saying. You know, so who's the real winner here, you know? I don't know, man. I just, it's just so frustrating because there are so many, this DLC is actually forcing people to engage with mechanics. It is forcing you to engage with the Shadow Blessing system. It is forcing you to engage with the buff stacking system and crafting. Like, it is finally putting its foot down and saying, no, you actually, like, oh, this DLC is, for the most part, even easier than the main game. Because it's like post-game content, you get to go in here with everything unlocked in a full setup. Whereas, if you're going to fight, like, say, Morgoth, you know, you're not going to have all your stuff. So you aren't going to have, like, 200% from buffs. People just need a fucking reality check. That's really what it comes down to. If Souls, let's put it this way. This DLC is not intended to be difficult. At the end of the day, they know it has to be fun first. However, they're just assuming that people who want to play this deep into the game are actually going to use more mechanics than just, I walked in the fight, tried to roll everything, and just got in R1s where I can. But the problem is...
like Voss. You know Voss, right? Definition of insanity, doing the same shit over and over and over again, expecting it to change.
If you're spending like an hour plus fighting the same boss and not getting anywhere, why don't you just like... look at other things that could be screwing you over. Because I can assure you, as someone who's literally been in esports, literally gotten paid to be good at video games, Dark Souls is not difficult. Elden Ring is not fucking hard for the most part. Like 99% of it is not difficult at all. So if it is taking you, the average Joe, an hour plus to beat something, it's probably because you're lacking in other areas. Some people are just that bad, sure, but like, if you actually engage with every system and use all the tools at your disposal, I promise you, you will not struggle. Because, I mean, you saw with the Renala fight I showed you earlier, like, as soon as she goes into her like, phase change, she's dead. She's dead going into her phase change. So you only have to get her to half health because your just damage output is so high.
Yeah. Now, like, are the fragments actually fun to get? Is it a good thing that they're completely mandatory? No, but the fact of the matter is that if you're deliberately not interacting with them, you don't have the privilege of saying it's too hard. Now, you have the privilege of saying collecting the fragments isn't fun.
Yeah, and
that you have the privilege of saying that.
That was our point when we talked about it in that like hour-long video, is that there's so many fragments that are so 50. Out of the way and all over the place.
The map's a maze.
Yeah, the map is so shitty to navigate, and you have to navigate it fully to get all the fragments, and you basically need all the fragments to like actually progress, or else you're gonna get like just stat checked. That's why I think the DLC is really bad. I think like a year or two from now, people are not going to want to really play this DLC, even when you have everything all figured out. Because at the end of the day, having 20 of the, like, Shadow Tree Blessing, that's 80% damage and 40% damage reduction. Like, that is the difference between a Soul Level 1 naked run and, like, having a full setup with, like, a plus 10 weapon. Like, that is genuinely that big of a difference. Like, okay, not having the blessings, assuming you just don't want to engage with the system at all, if you want to just, like, play the DLC casually and just not even worry about navigating the map, like, trying to figure out, like, where to go and shit, you just want to play and not think about it, then, like, that's like trying to progress through, like, Lendel or the Mountaintop of the Giants at Soul Level 1 naked. Like, that's genuinely the stat difference you're talking about. So adding that bag of rocks that you have to do every time you want to play the DLC, like, that sucks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but we talked about so many problems, and yet...
the only one people are focusing on is that they're getting fucking skill checked.
Yeah, like, I will say, yeah, a lot of times some of the trash mobs do a lot of damage, but never ended up really being that big of a problem because of all the things that we saw. Like, I did all the same things Tanner did. You know, I use buffs. Like, I use all that stuff.
See, you want actual criticism of Elden Ring? You want to know what actually makes Elden Ring not that great? Is if you actually do engage with all the systems, it's way too easy, as you saw. like, and this is I mean, this is even true in Dark Souls 3. You use fucking the bandits like dual swords. You use like all DPS rings, and you throw a
use
buff
the
on them.
resins.
Yeah, you use a resin for DPS rings on the like the bandit twin blades. You fucking kill. That's how I killed Dancer on my like my twink characters to get into the castle for my twink co-op characters. I just do that, and she dies faster than I've seen like on level streamers kill her with like a plus like 7 weapon. And it's like, okay. I mean, that is the thing. Elden Ring has so much stuff that it will never be balanced. And this was the main thing that I said in my prediction video where I predicted the DLC wouldn't be very good. Because Elden Ring has so many mechanics and so many items that work in so many ways, you're either like me and you know all this stuff and you can just do it.
Complete breeze, or
you don't know, or you're just unwilling to go through the hassle to get all these consumables and shit, and it feels impossible. Because, like, if we go back to this, I got up to, like, 1,700 something AR here. So, if I didn't use any consumables, any buffs, anything like this, then I go without any of this stuff. My AR in the DLC is, like, 800 before all my buffs. After it, it's, like, 1,700. So, I'm getting, like, 120% damage increase just from my buffs, from all the buffs that I'm stacking. So, like... And I'm just saying, without that, I'd have to hit the boss twice as much, which means it gets to hit me twice as much, which further slows me down. So it's not just like it doubles the boss fight time, because I have to spend more time dealing with their attacks, healing, it more like it triples it, which gives them even more time to delay it. It is a snowball. The faster you kill bosses, the lesser the window of opportunity for them to do anything, the less difficulty you have. You know, and it's just like... Oh man, this DLC has shown me that this DLC, a lot of people are calling this DLC bad for the same reasons they called Morrowind bad. They are too stupid to understand the game. You know, they think all they have to do is just roll every attack and hit back every time there's an opening. And they can safely ignore every single other mechanic in the entire game. The actual reasons why the DLC is bad, like being forced to collect all these fragments which takes forever... you can see...
And the fact that the scaling is rampant without it.
And that's the other thing. That's the other thing. This is a Band-Aid. Like, this should show you just how bad the scaling gets. It's funny. In my video, I had so many people tell me, oh, the scaling's not bad. You're making out to be a bigger problem than it is. And I'm like, yeah, if you have my perspective with all these consumables, yeah, it doesn't seem bad. But this DLC should be a good reminder to everyone that Elden Ring's late game is bad. It is a slog. The only people who swear by Elden Ring's late game are people like me who have like 1,000 hours in it. Well, not people like me. I should say people with my investment and knowledge level that don't mind it. They enjoy that aspect, which is not many. Because...
And also, I do want to point out with the scaling, it goes both ways too. In the normal overworld base game, that character probably had like 700 AR.
Oh yeah, and when I had buffs, when my buffs activated with like the talismans and stuff, my AR would get into like 12, like the 11, 1200 range. Yeah. So then it's like base game bosses get shredded in like 10 seconds. You know? So like the player is way too overpowered in this game, but if you tried to make them weaker at a fundamental level, then all the people who are currently struggling struggle even harder. Elden Ring is too long for its own good. It reached a level of bloat where you either accept and understand all the mechanics and utilize them, and it becomes so easy it's a literal joke.
Yeah, or it gets to the point where you're either getting two-shot or you're two-shotting everything.
Yeah.
There's no back and forth, there's no combat.
Elden Ring
with a chore in between.
Elden Ring would have been a better game if half of everything in it was just cut out. If Elden Ring was cut up into 2 separate independent games, it would have been a far better just game overall. Because you wouldn't have had to deal with all this bloat. We have reached a point where, like, because of the blessings, let's put it this way. If you're using a big, like, heavy two-handed hammer, your default AR before buffs with all the blessings is gonna be, like, fucking, like, 2,000. So when you start stacking buffs, it goes into, like, the 3,000-4,000s. Because 100% of 2,000 is a lot more impactful than 100% of 800, like in the base game. So we have now reached a nuclear point where you either use all these buffs because, like, again, you know, let's say a DLC boss has 100,000 health. Its base game equivalent still has, like, 60,000 health. So, like, your damage is ramping up faster than their health is. if you use all this stuff. But if you don't use all this stuff, then
And the scaling runs away without
yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly. So, like, you could argue that's good. You can argue it's not. I'm going to tell you right now, for the average casual, it's too much. Telling the average casual, oh, yeah, just use all this shit, they're not going to do this. Like, it's the truth. It is the hard truth you need to swallow. Yeah, you just use these fucking items, and it's super easy now. But then you have to answer to that casual who has, like, 20 hours in the game. Well, what if I don't want to spend like 3 hours gathering all the materials to craft as much as I need to get past the boss?
And that's what you can complain about.
Yeah.
But what you cannot complain about is that it's too hard when you have all of these tools available to you. What you can complain about is whether or not the tools themselves are fun. That's the main problem with the DLC. However, saying that the DLC is bad is because it's too hard. You are dumb. You are dumb.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not a valid criticism.
And I don't even mean to be like an asshole about this, but I'm sick of listening to people write paragraphs about how hard it is, and then, you know, I'm like, okay, let me see your status screen. What's your...
Yeah, I would love to see their build.
No. Here's a common interaction I've had. People tell me the DLC's too hard. I say, what's your AR after buffs? They hit me with that fucking fluoride stare, and they're like, what's AR? You could say it's the game's fault for not explaining this stuff to you and, like, easing you into playing like this. I would agree with you. And it's like... You know, but it's like, don't say it's too hard when you're not even really playing the game. When you're playing your weird, malformed version of the game where you don't use buffs because they're too strong and you don't use Mimic Tier because it's dishonorable, you know, and then you're like, it's too hard. Don't even give me that shit.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. It's basically
that's
that
basically
you have a
everything I
ton
wanted to
of
say.
options, and if you can't complain if you don't use them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your problem's the difficulty, then your actual problem is elsewhere. It would actually, in a certain sense, be a worse game if these options didn't matter. They'd be adding so much for nothing.
Yeah, basically, fucking Moist Critical and Asmongold are fucking idiots. They're bad at games, and that you should stop taking their opinions as gospel.